This is Bills Campday Recap. I'm Thad Brown, Caleb Carr, Rachel Liebert. Full house here on a Thursday. Bills practice number 10 in the books, getting ready for preseason game number 1. We'll talk about who's going to play, why it's important, and why getting into that new stadium, again, seems to matter a lot to this team. Plus, Joe Brady handling injuries. Might get into that today as well. Rachel and I were at practice today. Caleb did not. Just so everybody knows where we're coming from. Caleb will still have many smart things to say. Don't worry about that. Let's start with the big news of the day, which is that the starters will play. There was some debate, certainly during the week, I think, among us, among everybody in the media, about whether or not the Bills would go with the full deck for preseason game number 1. And Joe Brady said that they would. Everybody who's healthy at least would play. And there's a number of guys certainly who are not. Here was his explanation about why the starters will go on Saturday.
I want to see guys get hits. I want to see guys tackle. I want to see the finishing of the play and the how and all. So there's so many variables with it. We obviously have a new everything, right? And so it's our first opportunity for us to come together and show an example of what the Buffalo Bills, are about. And so I think that that's important.
New environment, new routine, just understanding, again, like we want to make this as real game-like as possible because it is a real game. But to have those reps before first game when we have it here on Thursday night, just understanding really the process behind everything and not being surprised by anything new.
All right, Rachel, start with you. Starters are in. Josh Allen's in. DJ Moore is in. Everybody's in. What's your reaction?
I'm a little bit surprised, especially just maybe on the Josh Allen front. I think the other starters maybe I expected, but I don't think Josh Allen saw a preseason snap at all last year. So this is definitely something different. I think it's maybe just the Joe Brady setting the tone. This is what we do around here. I do agree that it is important to, see the guys get hit and see what they're really made of, especially with a bunch of moving pieces or different pieces rather on this team this year. But I think the Josh Allen starting preseason game 1 is definitely a little bit of a surprise for me.
I think the only reason outside of like the stadium itself that some of these guys need to play is because there's a couple new pieces like Josh Allen and DJ Moore. I think it's probably a good idea to get them on the field for an actual game scenario before week 1. There we go. I don't know. Before week 1. But I think it's good that they're all going to be in the stadium. New field, get the pregame, like game day routine going. I mean, I know they did it for the return of the blue and red, but you can't tell me that they were able to like fully do what they want to do. So this just gives them a chance to get comfortable with the stadium so that there's no hiccups come week 2 when they're back at the home.
I think the Josh Allen, DJ Moore part of this is the most important or the most surprising. And I think 2 weeks ago, I would not have been surprised. I think 2 weeks ago, I would have said, well, of course, DJ Moore and Josh Allen need game reps. I mean, they never played together. You want to put them out there in a real scenario. But DJ Moore and Josh Allen have been so good together through 2 weeks. Today was, I think, the first practice, now that I think of it, that they did not have a single highlight today. I don't think they did anything of note. And we're, again, 10 practices into it. So there was a discussion. I know I talked to a couple of media members about this during the week about, do you even want to risk DJ Moore? Because as good as DJ Moore has been, if he got hurt, there would be a significant alteration to what the offense would look like. Outside of that, the defense is brand new. Everybody's in new roles. Those guys have to play. And then I think the other thing we got to remember too, whenever we look at, especially like the preseason, do they play or don't they play? We kind of think of it as just this week, right? Oh, are they going to play this week? Oh, they are. Wow, that's a big deal. Well, play out the whole preseason. Next week, they're going to go on the road and do joint practices, which is already starters versus starters. So you don't really need those guys to show up and play on Saturday. And then the third preseason game in a lot of ways is guys at the bottom of the roster trying to make the team. So when you really look through the whole big picture, this is the only game the starters might really have an opportunity to play. So I guess at the end of the day, I'm not totally surprised, even if, again, Bills fans might be a little nervous every time number 2 runs out for a pass on Saturday.
I also highly doubt that they're going to be out there for very long. I don't think he didn't give an actual how long they were going to play. If it's more than one drive, then I'll be extremely surprised.
Again, if this is the only one they're going to play in, I could see them going for a quarter. And if what Joe Brady says, he's serious about establishing the new era of Bills football and getting guys, there are other things we're going to get into in a minute here about learning the stadium that will matter. I do think you need more than a cursory, let's go out and do a drive. Now, they roll down the field and score a touchdown in 10 plays. Yeah, they're not coming back. The question would be, what if they go 1 first down and out? Do they play again? I think they do in that situation.
In that scenario, I could see it. Yeah, I could see like maximum 10 plays. I'll say that then. Like if the first drive is 1 first down and then a 3 and out after, or then you don't pick up another after that, then maybe they go in for another short drive.
All right,
I can see him. I'm sorry. I was just gonna say I could see him going for a whole quarter. I feel like Joe Brady just wants to like send the message and set the tone, and I could see it going for a whole quarter.
I'm with you there. It wouldn't. I would say more would be less surprising than less. Did I say that correctly?
I think so.
Yes. I think so.
So the starters lasting longer, especially on offense, I would be less surprised at it than Caleb's suggestion of 3 plays and out, we're done. I would think.
Yeah, probably.
And again, go back to 2 weeks ago. My thought would be they need to play because they've never played before, at least DJ Moore and Josh Allen. So I do think there is motivation to get these guys on the field. The other motivation is with the stadium itself. We've heard this a few times that the Bills need to learn the stadium. There are things they haven't figured out. And even though they got an opportunity last Saturday with the blue and red practice, talking to the guys today, they still made it pretty clear that there are boxes that need to be checked when it comes to figuring out new Highmark Stadium.
Understanding where the play clocks and the game clocks are. Different lights, the light patterns, they make a difference for the receivers and punt returners, kick returners.
You got some new stuff in there. You got some high tech stuff. So I think that's the main thing is just getting comfortable. Hour by hour, what I'm going to be doing with my body and how I'm going to be preparing to go out there and play.
I've been in so many different environments that it won't be an adjustment for that. It'll be more of an adjustment of learning the footing and the fresh new grass, kind of playing to see if I can wear regular cleats or I have to put studs in, like that type of thing.
That's why we're trying to get in the stadium and get a part of a lot of these so that our guys don't get caught up in it as well, right? It's going to be, it's going to be a hard place to play for opponents, right? But it has to be an advantage to us. But
so a couple of things I want to get into with this. And number one, I want to start with the thing that Brady kind of talked about at the end there, that we want to make sure our guys are not caught up. And when he means caught up in the idea of this is the first game ever in new Highmark Stadium, huzzah. And having guys, when we get to week 1, not looking around and thinking this is awesome. And Caleb, I really thought that was not the most genius thing ever, but a pretty smart way to approach it, that, yeah, there's going to be some, wow, this is cool. And some wide eye stuff, even from the home team, at a point when you want the home team to be the ones who are like, okay, let's go to business and win a game.
Yeah, I think I understand that to a certain point. Like, you don't want to get too caught up in it come like the actual kickoff time. But I don't really think that there's anything wrong with running out of the tunnel and kind of, as you're running out, looking around and soaking in this is what we're doing. This is cool. This is a cool opportunity that we have. They're professional athletes. I personally think that they should be able to
compartmentalize.
Yeah, compartmentalize. Like, still be able to be like, hey, this is cool, but I also am locking in right now, and I'm ready to play.
To me, I feel like I agree with Caleb. I feel like these, like you said, they're pro athletes. I don't think they're going to be that distracted by this is, the first time running out on the field in a game situation. I can see the other points that they made, Khalil Shakir talking about his cleats and Josh Allen talking about the lights. That is, valid to me. But as far as the, maybe we're going to be distracted by there's fans in here and this is a real game situation, I feel like at this point, they've been in the stadium, they've practiced in the stadium, they know what a full Highmark Stadium feels like. Obviously, just from years past, it's a different environment, a different place. But I don't think that they are going to, look around and get distracted by what's happening, at least in my opinion.
I think distraction is strong. I do think that there is a weight of the moment that can become a problem. No, but can it be a thing? Yeah, I think so. I think that the idea of this franchise has existed for 60 whatever years and now is going into Stadium 3 and the first one in over half a century. I think that can be a thing that becomes, something that's on the mind. Weighing on it, burdening it, being a distraction, no. But I don't think Joe Brady is off base to where, maybe not making sure guys aren't worried about it, but running through enough reps so that the newness has been washed away. I do think there's a worth there to that.
Are we? I don't want to stick on this for too long because I know we have other things on the agenda. Are we overhyping this too much? Like, are we?
What is
making
this?
The importance or the level that the new stadium matters to the players and the coaches. Like, are we as the media and the fans overhyping it? Like, do the players and coaches are they even really thinking about that, or are they just talking about it because we're talking about it?
I think with the things that Rachel brought up, the lights and the cleats that we'll talk about in a minute, those are actual physical things that do matter. There is a constant chicken and egg a little bit, I think, when you get into do with the NFL, where we hear players say every little thing matters. And then therefore, when they start talking about the little things, we're like, wow, they matter. But they're also still little things. I mean, if Josh Allen throws for 5 touchdowns, then who's wearing what cleats won't make as big a deal, or where the lights are located. Or, if the Bills just truck Detroit on the offensive line in week 2 and the Lions can't match up, then yeah, those things won't matter. So do little things matter? The players tell us they do, so ergo they must, even if they're still little things.
I think my thing is like, and I know home field advantage is supposed to be home field advantage. Like the Bills have to be more comfortable playing in their own stadium than the other team does. But when it comes to the lighting and what cleats you wear and things about the stadium, everybody has to go on the road. Like, there's always 16 teams on the road every week, other than bye weeks, obviously. And they still have to play in those environments that they're not as comfortable in. I don't know. I feel like we're maybe overhyping it a little bit.
It might be. I mean, are we overhyping it? Almost certainly. Is it overhyped to a degree where it's egregious? I don't know. With the cleats, though, I do want to tell a story because I was talking to Khalil Shakir about, he talked about wanting to get the cleats right. And I said, well, how do you know? How do you figure that out? And one of the things he said was, with new grass, like they have at Highmark Stadium, it's going to generally be softer. And you can tell because when guys run, you'll see the grass kind of popping up a little bit. And in those situations, you have to wear longer, sharper cleats. Like he was saying, if you've worn a pair of cleats 15 or 20 times, you can't do that in a softer grass environment because they won't hold. So trying to figure out if you still need to wear those or how soft the grass is a part of figuring out a new environment. And the Bills have to do that with this new stadium. He compared it to their practice field. He's like, the practice field is perfect. And he said that after the grass has been growing for a while, the roots will kind of take and it becomes more solid ground. And the Bills' new stadium has not done that yet. So learning where you're at with the cleats, not only, this is me assuming or speculating, not only will the Bills need to wear sharper cleats now, but I would imagine as the grass grows in and thickens up, I don't know if it's going to happen this fall or into next fall, but at some point it will. And then you're going to know, okay, now we're going to move back to the less long, less sharper cleats. I thought that was fascinating. Again, you want to go back to, is that a little thing they were overhyping? I thought it was very interesting.
I think that definitely is one where the home team gets the advantage with, they've played on it a couple times. They have a better understanding of what they need to wear. I do think that might be, I'm not saying we're overhyping everything, but I think there are some little things in there.
Did he mention if it like one versus the other like slows him down? Like, what did he say anything about the way they play as far as like the grass goes? Like, oh, this is slowing me down. Like, I would be interested to know that because I mean, I agree that this is interesting because it's not something you think of, and obviously, like every little detail matters when it comes to what they wear and what they do. But I mean, I would be interested to know like what do they prefer and what is, I guess, quote unquote better to play on.
I did not ask that. That's an excellent question. I would think that the right answer is the right cleats. Like if you have the thing that fits what you're playing on, it's right. But the way Shakir talked about the practice field makes me think that is ideal because he raved about this. He's like, this is perfect.
I wonder if you were to ask him if he has like an NFL field that has like the ideal grass, if he would have to answer for you. That should be a follow-up.
The Bills practice field.
It'd probably have to be off the record too, probably because it wouldn't be, it doesn't sound like it would be Highmark Stadium yet. We'll see how it's going to go after this. All right. Speaking of the Bills practice field, there was a practice on that field today. And the one thing that Rach and I both noticed is that defense was the winner all day long. What defensive star do you want to start with or what defensive play you want to hit on? And then I'll cover whatever else you'd leave out.
I mean, we saw quite a few interceptions from guys that we typically don't see interceptions from. Corey Couch was one, and then Jimmy Charlo, who I don't think we've even talked about at all this year, and he was kind of a training camp story last year. Don't know if they were both off of Shane Buechele, but they were definitely off of backup quarterbacks. They were pretty I don't know if either of the passes should have been thrown, but they were pretty good picks regardless. And like I said, I literally turned to you during practice and was like, it's pretty obvious. This is a one-way, show right now. And then Jalen Kilgore had a really good pass breakup too on one of the starting tight ends. Might've been Knox, might've been Kincaid. They look the same. They have similar numbers.
Hate that.
Last names.
Yes.
So one of the two. But I mean, overall, it was very obvious that the defense was, the winners of the day.
I saw the second interception to Jimmy Charlo, and that was a scramble situation where it felt like Buechele was trying to make something happen / force something, and it was an easy interception. I didn't see the couch one as well, to the point where we still don't even know who the quarterback was. But either way, another day where backup quarterbacks, what are you guys doing? They really, every single time we see a backup make a play that we talk about, it's almost always exactly. This is not indicative of something that's going to be positive. The other thing I saw, Dunbar, one of the lower level corners, 36, had a nice one-on-one with Keon Coleman on a fade route today. D. Alford won a route that Josh Allen tried to throw to Josh Palmer. And like we said, DJ Moore didn't do anything of note today. So all of that underlines a really good day for the defense. The one thing of note that I want to talk about from the offensive side that was impressive, offensive line did one-on-ones as they always do the D-line. Jude Bowery had another great rep. I mean, just absolutely dumped one of the lower down the depth chart defensive linemen. So that was the offensive highlight of the day. We'll have a couple other things to talk about when we get into our turkey burgers later on. But this was a dominant defensive performance. Caleb, any reaction to hearing this was defense 5, Bills offense nothing today?
Not too much of a reaction, like just defense offensively. But I do think it's good, especially at this point in the offseason as we're getting closer to the preseason games, to see some of those guys that you don't hear, Couch, Charlo was the other one that you said.
Mm-hmm.
To hear some of those guys' names get brought up, or to see them making some plays on the field, it's good to see, just to show that there are some players further down the depth chart that do still have some talent, where if something were to happen further up on the depth chart, it makes you feel a little bit more confident.
The one thing I'll say about this as a whole, and it's just one practice, so it's not that big a deal, but the defense won on a day where CJ Gardner-Johnson didn't play, Cole Bishop didn't play, Max Hairston didn't play. We've liked a lot of what we've seen from the receivers, primarily in the DJ Moore camp, but we've talked about how Khalil Shakir has been normal, Josh Palmer's has been good. Today was a day where the Bills starting receivers as a whole, and maybe starting is wrong because I don't know how many they all played, but the Bills receiving group as a whole lost to a undermanned defensive back group today.
Yeah, do we think it's a positive or a negative that the third and fourth stringer DBs were kind of winning the battle? Like, do you think it's a positive for the defense, or is it
No, that's a negative for the offense.
Yeah.
Again, without sitting there and saying every single rep was starter.
Yeah.
Overall, it's a negative for the offense. It's good that on a team that has very little corner depth, that the other corners were making plays. But these are guys, except for maybe Dunbar, I think these are guys that are going to have a real uphill climb to make the roster right now. So them playing well on a big picture, I don't think is too helpful.
I wasn't there, so I don't want to give too much of an opinion, but if it's just like a one-off day, I think we've seen enough from the receivers, especially Khalil Shakir, DJ Moore, and Joshua Palmer, that if it's just a one-off day where the backups secondary is winning, I don't think I'm too concerned about the receiver group. I think I feel better for your question, I think I feel better about the secondary than I do worse about the receivers.
I totally agree that the receiving thing is a non-starter because it's one day. The guys who made plays today, I don't know if it's worth getting excited about them because it's hard for me to see them making the roster.
That's a good point.
If it's now Jalen Kilgore made a play, that's good. If it's Toriano Pride or Kenai Walker, then that's different. Those guys have a shot. But Dunbar, Couch, Charlo, if he makes the roster, is going to be as a special teamer. The other guys probably are not. All right, Rachel talked with Lloyd Cushenberry, who's an interesting player all of a sudden with Connor McGovern being injured all week. I mean, Cushenberry was going to get time in the preseason anyway, but now, you're going to look at this as the guy who's going to play. He is going to be the first person to snap a ball to Josh Allen in New Highmark Stadium.
That's interesting.
You talked to him. Yeah, right. You talked to him today.
Yeah, I did talk to him today. Just like you said, Connor McGovern is hurt, so he's now stepping up into this potentially a starting role come around the season, but especially in the preseason. The thing about Cushenberry is that he was a starter. He's been in the league for 6 years. This is going on his 7th, and he's been a starter the entire time. So now he's come to Buffalo as his backup, and I asked him, why did you come to Buffalo? because, knowing that you were going to be a backup. And he said for opportunities, exactly like the one he's faced with right now.
It's a conversation me and Joe had before I signed, for moments if anything were to happen. Obviously, I knew signing here, Connor had already re-signed, and he was the guy. And, I just wanted the opportunity to get healthy, which I'm still, getting back right. Get healthy and just be ready and available when needed. The main thing was be a part of a great winning organization, which, we have here. So excited to be a part of it and just want to embrace my role and whatever I can to help us, get to our goals, I'll do it.
I asked him a few times, how are you preparing for this role? What's the approach? And he just said, I've been, practicing like I'm a starter. I've been a starter. He told me a few times, like, I've been a starter my whole NFL career. So like I said, the approach is pretty much the same. And I think he's been doing a decent job. I mean, Josh Allen also talked about him today, that they're building that connection. So definitely this preseason, we'll see him, and then we'll have to see what happens with McGovern during week 1.
Interesting guy in that he goes into a preseason game, maybe more so than anyone else who's not probably going to be a starter, assuming Connor McGovern doesn't have some sort of serious injury. Cushenberry is a guy that has to be thinking that if I play well and anyone needs a center around the league, I'm going to be one of the first guys everybody else calls. So while he doesn't have much of a chance to be the starter in Buffalo, more so than I think every other backup on this team, he does have a legitimate chance to be a starter.
And I asked him that too, actually, and he kind of navigated around the question of really not talking about any other NFL teams. He just said, I'm here and I'm a starter here. I've practiced like a starter here, and that's what I'm going to do. So did ask him that, but did not get the, answer of, yeah, I'd like to impress some other GMs and head coaches.
We talked about him a little bit at the after the blue and red practice, because he did get some reps in there, and we weren't overly impressed with him. I don't think we've been overly impressed with him so far, but I did also make the point that he probably hasn't gotten a ton of reps with Josh Allen yet. So I think if McGovern is down for a while, this preseason game is very important. Just we know that he's been a starter. We know that he's a good center in the league. He just has to get the connection down with Allen, and I think this preseason game is perfect for that.
It is a big deal from the point of view of making sure that the Bills have someone they can count on to be there in case Connor McGovern is not going to be able to answer the bell. The offensive line has been ridiculously healthy. That is not going to last forever. As we hear all the time from Deion Dawkins, there's a 100% injury rate in the NFL. So this is a big moment. And not only that, too, the Bills need this guy to play well so Josh Allen survives the game. This is the guy that you are counting on directly, the tip of the spear kind of thing. So a big Saturday coming up for Lloyd Cushenberry, to say the least. Speaking of injuries, Joe Brady got a question today about C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who, of course, had the calf strain that we all thought was going to be an Achilles tear because we're all doctors from 50 yards away. And he comes back, and everyone in the media, again, with zero medical expertise, thought it was wildly quick that he came back. I mean, hey, good for him being healthy, but then he lasts, a couple practices, and now he's injured again. So Joe Brady got a question today about whether or not the Bills felt like he was brought back too early, and here's what Brady had to say.
We're learning the guys' recoveries, right? And we're learning their bodies, guys that haven't been here, right? And you're learning it all. And some of it is the toughness of guys, just, the willingness of like, hey, like, I love seeing guys that are like, look, I'm hurting right now. I'm going to go back out on the football field. And, no two injuries are the same, and so, no, not a concern. If there was a concern of guys going out there and it's like, hey, this guy, we don't put guys out there on the football field that we don't feel like they can go out there and do their job. We're not just putting guys out there to go get re-injured.
So the reason that we've got this in the show is because the thing that stuck out to me was Joe Brady saying no two injuries are the same. Now, the rest of this comment, he's really kind of talking around injuries, which is what he's done all through camp, which frankly is what most coaches can do this time of year because there's not any official injury reports for another 3 weeks or so. So getting zero injury information, although kind of frustrating for us, is kind of how it goes with some teams. But for Joe Brady to say that there are no two injuries that are the same, yes, that might be true. And I understand he's stayed with the mantra of, we don't know, we're not going to put a timetable on anybody's rehab. It's not like there's never been a calf strain in the NFL. There is, in general, a roadmap for how to treat these things. And right this second, it looks like the Bills did not do a good job. Now, we don't know. Maybe something weird happened. Who knows? But for Joe Brady to just be like, no two injuries are the same. They're all different, I guess. But it's not like medical knowledge about calf strains just started a week ago.
Yeah, this is a really weird situation to me because I think surface level, to me, the answer is yes, he did come back from injury too quickly. I mean,
Or at least it looks that way.
at least it looks that way. I mean, if he still has, if the calf strain is still what's wrong with him, this time around, then to me, he didn't have enough rest and recovery. I mean, we saw him come back on the field 3 days. I mean, he was limping one day. The next day, he's running around full pads, full helmet. I mean, to me,
And full drills too, by the way.
full
Did
drills,
everything.
yeah, full practice. I mean, not, yeah. I mean, it feels like this wasn't the proper way to go about it. Now, we know personality like CJ Gardner-Johnson. Joe Brady mentioned there's guys that just want to get back on the field. And I'm sure the Bills, training staff is obviously preventing guys from doing that. But I mean, if he's a guy that's telling you he's ready to go, I mean, maybe he's ready to go. But to me, he should not have been back on the field as quickly, in my opinion, just based on what we saw. And this is the consequence of that now.
I was going to say that if you told me that there was a player that got injured and the medical staff said you shouldn't play, you should give it a few days, and he said no, I'm going to play, and everyone pushed no you're not, and he goes, I'm going to do it anyways, and you told me guess who it was, CJ Gardner-Johnson would be my first guess. So it wouldn't surprise me if the Bills did try to keep him back, and if that was their plan. I agree that you maybe should be able to have a little more control over it than that. But CJ Gardner-Johnson's also CJ Gardner-Johnson. But maybe he was good. Maybe he was good. And maybe the staff said I mean, I do believe Joe Brady a little bit in the every 2 injuries are the same. And I get what you're saying, that we have a roadmap. We know what it looks like. Maybe it wasn't that as severe as we thought. I don't know. There's a lot of things that we don't know in this situation. So it's really hard to judge. But
the thing about every 2 injuries not being the same is that, okay, you're telling me that we're going to take every injury, even the ones we've seen 100 times, and kind of let a player dictate to us a little bit about how we're going to treat this. Because this player, in theory, would know his body better than anybody, especially a guy that just got here this year.
Yeah.
So he might be able to dictate a little more about whether or not he plays. And the weird thing is that Sean McDermott got criticism for pushing guys too much to come back and play. That was one of the rumors a couple weeks ago about training camp injuries, that, McDermott wouldn't listen to the medical staff and would push guys. Well, now we've got, in theory, a medical staff that's listening to the guys too much, and we've got the same problem with a guy coming back too early. Again, it's one injury, it's early. We have no idea if this is the Joe Brady pattern, but on a year where every little tea leaf with a new coach is something we're going to dissect, this is one that stuck out to me today. Okay, one more thing we're going to get into in terms of health and safety. Oh, no, I'm sorry. We may not get to this. But first, it is time once again for turkey burgers, as we always do during camp. Caleb cannot participate today.
I'm giving a turkey burger to Rachel Liebert and
Thank
Thad
you.
Brown for going out there and doing tremendous coverage at Orchard Park.
On the flip side, I think
And-
Caleb should do all of them now. Go ahead, Rach, your first turkey burger from today.
My first one's going to go to Jalen Kilgore. We talked about it earlier. Nice pass breakup on some tight end that we are unsure of. But I mean,
I'm pretty sure it was Kincaid. I thought it was Kincaid.
I thought it was Knox, but that's okay. We can agree to disagree. But I mean, he's had a pretty good camp, pretty good few practices. So Jalen Kilgore's my first one.
Alec Anderson will get a turkey burger from me today. Had back-to-back reps against Ed Oliver that he won. Now, one was a double team with Deion Dawkins, but whatever. The second was just a straight-up pass rush or pass blocking rep. And with Alec Anderson, priority one for me is how do you pass block? You win against Ed Oliver, you get a turkey burger.
My next one goes to Greg Rousseau. He just looked really quick, like coming off the ball in the pass rush. I mean, he got to the backfield too. Obviously, they're not hitting the guys in the backfield when they're getting to him, but I mean, he just looked like he was moving pretty well. So Greg Rousseau.
Bradley Chubb is my second one. We've talked about how we haven't heard a lot from him during camp. Today, he absolutely won against Spencer Brown, got inside. Would have been a sack if sacks were allowed at this part of practice. So a good move for Chubb in a moment where he shone today. Okay, that is going to do it for today's episode of Bills Campday Recap. We will do Breakfast Gate some other time. People probably have seen this already, but we'll talk about it as well. Want to thank Rachel Liebert and Caleb Carr. As always, we'll be back on Saturday, me and Caleb, recapping preseason game numero uno. Until then, thanks very much for watching. Remember, you can always catch this show on YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. And please feel free to subscribe because I'm told it helps you out and even us as well. We'll see you again on Saturday. Thanks for watching and listening.